Okay, if your handout is open already, all right. So let's start with a simple matching task. All right, so we have five words and phrases here, and you need to match them with their definition. All right. So because you are very competent students, I will give you 2 minutes, just 2 minutes for this task. How are you today, Hà Phương?
Hi, I think today I'm good, but I have a sore throat, so I
Oh,
cannot talk clearly.
okay, I see. Yeah. All right, time's up. So, Nguyễn Vinh, can you read the answers for the class?
I think the number one is D.
Yeah, just read them continuously. Number one,
A real
E.
eyes opener is a surprising fact that reveals something
Yes.
previously unknown. Yeah.
Okay. 1D, number two.
And number two is C. In the end, and after a
Okay.
series of events.
Yes. You don't have to read
And
the definitions. Just tell me the letter.
okay. And number three is baby, a B.
Mhm. Yes.
And number four is maybe A.
Uh, Bleak. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And the last one is E.
Is we have C, D, E, right? Okay. I think most of them are quite familiar for you guys, right? How about number four, bleak, right? Bleak, từ này có nghĩa là trống trải ảm đạm. Ok, nên thường mình nói về một cái nhìn khi mà nghe thì hoặc là nhìn thấy cái từ này mình sẽ hình dung ra một cái khu vực trống trải lạnh lẽo. Ví dụ như là gì nhỉ? Ở Bắc Cực ấy, right? Ok, nó có mỗi băng tuyết thôi. So it's the landscape in the Antarctica is really bleak, sorry. Từ này có thể được dùng với nghĩa bóng, ví dụ như the future might look bleak. Tương lai thì nó không có hứa hẹn, nó ảm đạm. Yeah. So based on the words here, I want you to write one or two words, okay, about the topic of the listening section that we are about to listen to. Can you guess the topic or what is the mood of the topic that we are going to listen to? Is it positive or negative? Just write down in the comment, okay? Positive or negative, and what do you think would be the topic?
Part 3.
Okay, just one answer from Phương. How about Minh Tâm? What
I
do you
think
think? Yep.
I think so. It may be around 12 and it's negative.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. So in the listening section, we will listen to the future of jobs. Okay, the future of work. All right. So question 21 to 24, multiple choice questions. All right. So pay attention to the keywords in the questions. Right? You have to choose two options. Right? For example, keyword for question 21, 22 would be loot dice, right? Loot dice. Okay. The name. Yeah. Okay. So underline the keywords, loot dice, keywords for option A. Yeah. The actions were ineffective. So you just need ineffective. Right. Okay. So choose just one or two words for each option. Right. Don't highlight words too much, but too influential. For example, number 3, unfair criticism. Number 4, proof right. And number 5 is understandable. Okay. Hoàng Sơn, can you help me to highlight, to underline the keywords for the next two questions?
First is the doubtful.
Okay, doubtful.
The option A will more rewarding.
More rewarding. Yes.
B is unemployment and full.
Okay. 4, right. Okay, unemployment. C?
Delayed retiring
Yes.
and shorter hour.
Shorter hours, right.
And the last one is change job frequently.
Change frequently. Exactly. Okay. Question 25 to 26, right? They are making comments on some different occupations. We have accountants, right? Agricultural workers, care workers, bank clerks, hairdressers, and administrative staff. Right? Okay. So do you have to listen to their agreement? Hải Anh?
I think yes, maybe.
Okay, perhaps, right? The question doesn't write anything about agree or disagree, okay? So hopefully we don't have to listen to, their agreements or disagreements. Okay, so let's start the listening.
You will hear Part 3. You will hear two business students discussing automation and the future of work. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
That seminar yesterday on automation and the future of work was really good, wasn't it? Looking at the first industrial revolution in Britain in the 19th century and seeing how people reacted to massive change was a real eye-opener.
Yes. It was interesting to hear how people felt about automation then and what challenges they faced. I didn't know that first started with workers in the textile industry.
With those protesting workers called the Luddites, destroying their knitting machines because they were so worried about losing their jobs.
Yes, and ultimately they didn't achieve anything. And anyway, industrialisation created more jobs than it destroyed.
Yes, that's true. But it probably didn't seem a positive thing at the time. I can see why the Luddites felt so threatened.
I know. I'm sure I would have felt the same. The discussion about the future of work was really optimistic for a change. I like the idea that work won't involve doing boring, repetitive tasks, as robots will do all that. Normally, you only hear negative stuff about the future.
Bit too optimistic, don't you think? For example, I can't see how people are about to have more leisure time when all the evidence shows people are spending longer than ever at work.
No, that's true. And what about lower unemployment? I'm not so sure about that.
Perhaps in the long term, but not in the foreseeable future.
And I expect most people will be expected to work until they're much older, as everyone's living much longer.
That's already happening.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
I enjoyed all that stuff on how technology has changed some jobs and how they're likely to change in the near future.
Yeah, incredible. Like accountants. You might think all the technological innovations would have put them out of a job, but in fact there are more of them than ever. They're still really in demand and have become far more efficient.
Right, that was amazing. 20 times more accountants in this country compared to the 19th century.
I know. I'd never have thought the demand for hairdressing would have gone up so much in the last 100 years. One hairdresser for every 287 people now, compared to one for over 1,500.
Yeah, because people's earning power has gone up so they can afford to spend more on personal services like that.
But technology hasn't changed the actual job that much.
No, they've got hairdryers, etc. But it's one job where you don't depend on a computer. The kind of work that administrative staff do has changed enormously, thanks to technology. Even 20 years ago, there were secretaries doing dictation and typing.
Yes, really boring compared to these days, when they're given much more responsibility and higher status.
A lot of graduates go in for this kind of work now. I'd expected there to be a much bigger change in the number of agricultural workers in the 19th century, but the 1871 census showed that roughly 25% of the population worked on the land.
Yeah, I'd have assumed it would be more than 50%. Now it's less than 0.2%.
What about care workers?
They barely existed in the 19th century, as people's lifespan was so much shorter. But now, of course, this sector will see huge growth.
Yeah, and it's hard enough to meet current demand. The future looks quite bleak for bank clerks. They've been in decline since ATMs were introduced in the 80s.
And technology will certainly make most of the jobs they do now redundant, I think.
I agree. Although the situation may change, it's very hard to predict what will happen.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3.
Let me see if I put any no. Okay, no answer here. Just wait a minute. Right, for yeah. Okay, you can check the key in the chat box. Yeah. Then please comment the number of correct answers that you get. Các bạn ơi, comment số câu đúng nhanh giúp thầy nhé. Yeah. Sorry mọi người. Thầy có nhầm một chút. Ở câu 25 câu 26. 25 26 là GE đấy, chứ không phải là EG đâu. Yeah. Sorry mọi người. Các bạn comment lại số câu giúp thầy nhé. Ok. Alright. So now mọi người comment cho thầy hai câu mà mình muốn chữa nhé. Ok. Hai câu mà các bạn làm sai. Yeah. Mà mình cần chữa. 7/10 đúng không? Đa số các bạn làm được từ 7 trở lên. Right. Ok. Mình sẽ nghe lại, mình check lại nhé. Nhanh lên mọi người nhá. Comment hai câu mình muốn chữa. Comment chung vào trong hộp chat nha. Đấy, 6:30. Ok. Mọi người comment vào trong hộp chat chung nha. 27 nhiều này. Ok. Ok. Như vậy là câu 27 là các bạn bị sai nhiều nhất đúng không? 27 về administrative staff. Ok. Chắc chắn là có một cái trap ở đây rồi. Right. Ok, trước tiên mình check câu số 22 đấy nhá. Cũng nhiều bạn hỏi câu số 22 đúng không? Cho dài thêm tí, tua cho dễ.
Now listen.
Was really good, wasn't it? Looking at the first industrial revolution in Britain in the 19th century and seeing how people reacted to massive change was a real eye-opener.
Yes. It was interesting to hear how people felt about automation then and what challenges they faced. I didn't know that first started with workers in the textile industry.
With those protesting workers called the Luddites,
Yeah, the Luddites. Yeah, bắt đầu câu 21 22.
destroying their knitting machines because they were so worried about losing their jobs.
Yes, and ultimately they didn't achieve anything.
Okay. Ultimately, they didn't achieve anything. Cái câu này loại cho mình đáp án D đúng không?
Worried about losing their jobs.
Yes, and ultimately they didn't achieve anything. And anyway, industrialisation created more jobs than it destroyed.
Yes, that's true. But it probably didn't seem a positive thing at the time. I can see why the Luddites felt so threatened.
I know. I'm sure I would have felt the same.
Okay. Can you write down the last sentence? She said that I'm sure I would.
Time. I can see why the Luddites felt so threatened.
I know. I'm sure I would have felt the same.
Okay. I'm sure I would. Just write out the sentence in the chat box. Okay. Don't send to me privately. Send to the the common chat box. Okay, great. I'm sure I would have felt the same. Right.
Probably didn't seem a positive thing at the time. I can see why the Luddites felt so threatened.
I know. I'm sure I would have felt the same.
I would have felt the same, right? I would have felt the same. Tôi cũng sẽ cảm thấy tương tự như vậy. Right, đáp án đúng Y, right?
The discussion about the future of
Okay. Right. Câu số 27 đúng không? Administrative staff.
compared to the 19th century.
I know. I'd never have thought the demand for hairdressing would have gone up so much in the last 100 years. One hairdresser for every 287 people now, compared to one for over 1,500.
Yeah, because people's earning power has gone up so they can afford to spend more on personal services like that.
But technology hasn't changed the actual job that much.
No, they've got hairdryers, etc. But it's one job where you don't depend on a computer. The kind of work that administrative staff do has changed enormously, thanks to technology. Even 20 years ago, there were secretaries doing dictation and typing.
Yes, really boring compared to these days, when they're given much more responsibility and higher status.
Okay. Really boring, right? And repetitive. Okay. Vậy là những cái này là antonyms của interesting đúng không? Right. Ngày xưa thì nó rất là boring và repetitive. Vậy có nghĩa là ngày nay thì nó interesting. Đến phần này mình có thể đoán được rồi. Đấy, chúng ta nghe lại nhé.
Even 20 years ago, there were secretaries doing dictation and typing.
Yes, really boring compared to these days, when they're given much more responsibility and higher status.
Okay, so nowadays they are given much more. Can you write the last sentence, the last part of the sentence?
Years ago, there were secretaries doing dictation and typing.
Yes, really boring compared to these days, when they're given much more responsibility and higher status.
There were secretaries doing dictation and typing.
Yes, really boring compared to these days, when they're given much more responsibility and higher status.
Yes, they are given much more responsibility and higher status. Ok. Gọi là interesting hơn có nghĩa là họ có nhiều nhiệm vụ hơn đúng không? Nhiều trách nhiệm hơn và có cái vị trí cao hơn, higher status. Đấy, câu 27 đáp án đúng sẽ là B. Let's see, any requests for other questions? 29, right? Okay. 19. Okay, okay. Mình move on qua task 3 nhé. Alright. Phần task 3 chúng ta sẽ nghe lại cái phần thứ hai của đoạn vừa rồi. Ok. Ở đây là một cái summary của nội dung của phần thứ hai. Right. Ok. Trước tiên là các bạn dành cho thầy tầm khoảng 2 phút nhé. Mọi người đọc cái summary này, xác định loại từ cần điền cho thầy nhé. Ok. So the maximum words you can write is 3. Right. Okay, so I'm going to play the recording and just write down your answers in the chat box. Okay.
Accountants.
Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
I enjoyed all that stuff on how technology has changed some jobs and how they're likely to change in the near future.
Yeah, incredible. Like accountants. You might think all the technological innovations would have put them out of a job, but in fact there are more of them than ever. They're still really in demand and have become far more efficient.
Right, that was amazing. 20 times more accountants in this country compared to the 19th century.
I know. I'd never have thought the demand for hairdressing would have gone up so much in the last 100 years. One hairdresser for every 287 people now, compared to one for over 1,500.
Yeah, because people's earning power has gone up so they can afford to spend more on personal services like that.
But technology hasn't changed the actual job that much.
No, they've got hairdryers, etc. But it's one job where you don't depend on a computer. The kind of work that administrative staff do has changed enormously, thanks to technology. Even 20 years ago, there were secretaries doing dictation and typing.
Yes, Really boring compared to these days, when they're given much more responsibility and higher status.
A lot of graduates go in for this kind of work now. I'd expected there to be a much bigger change in the number of agricultural workers in the 19th century, but the 1871 census showed that roughly 25% of the population worked on the land.
Yeah, I'd have assumed it would be more than 50%. Now it's less than 0.2%.
What about care workers?
They barely existed in the 19th century, as people's lifespan was so much shorter. But now, of course, this sector will see huge growth.
Yeah, and it's hard enough to meet current demand. The future looks quite bleak for bank clerks. They've been in decline since ATMs were introduced in the 80s.
And technology will certainly make most of the jobs they do now redundant, I think.
I agree. Although the situation may change, it's very hard to predict what will happen.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3.
Okay, so let's listen to it the second time. I missed question number 9. Okay, to be honest, it was really fast at the end. 6, 7, 8, and 9. All of them came like almost instantly. Okay. So listen again.
Innovation.
And answer questions 25.
I enjoyed all that stuff on how technology has changed some jobs and how they're likely to change in the near future.
Yeah, incredible. Like accountants. You might think all the technological innovations would have put them out of a job, but in fact there are more of them than ever. They're still really in demand and have become far more efficient.
Right, that was amazing. 20 times more accountants in this country compared to the 19th century.
I know. I'd never have thought the demand for hairdressing would have gone up so much in the last 100 years. One hairdresser for every 287 people now, compared to one for over 1,500.
Yeah, because people's earning power has gone up so they can afford to spend more on personal services like that.
But technology hasn't changed the actual job that much.
No, they've got hairdryers, etc. But it's one job where you don't depend on a computer. The kind of work that administrative staff do has changed enormously, thanks to technology. Even 20 years ago, there were secretaries doing dictation and typing.
Yes, really boring compared to these days, when they're given much more responsibility and higher status.
A lot of graduates go in for this kind of work now. I'd expected there to be a much bigger change in the number of agricultural workers in the 19th century, but the 1871 census showed that roughly 25% of the population worked on the land.
Yeah, I'd have assumed it would be more than 50%. Now it's less than 0.2%.
What about care workers?
They barely existed in the 19th century, as people's lifespan was so much shorter. But now, of course, this sector will see huge growth.
Yeah, and it's hard enough to meet current demand. The future looks quite bleak for bank clerks. They've been in decline since ATMs were introduced in the 80s.
And technology will certainly make most of the jobs they do now redundant, I think.
I agree. Although the situation may change, it's very hard to predict what will happen.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3.
Okay, so let's check the answer. Number one, we have accountants. Number two, Vinh, can you hear number two?
I can't.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay. Number two, earning power. All right. Okay. Okay, how about number three, Bing?
Boring.
Okay, number three, the nature of work.
Boring.
Okay. No, it's administrative work. Okay. Who can who can get number four? Right. Number four. It's difficult. Make up less than 0.2% of the population. Yes. Okay. Very good. It's just 0.2%. Okay. 0,2 mọi người đừng viết dấu phẩy như tiếng Việt nhé. Nhớ là 0,2 nha. Tiếng Anh khác á. 0,2 là 0.2. Right. Okay, number five, the care industry. Number six. Câu số 6, câu số 7, mấy câu này hơi gần nhau. Bank clerks. Number seven. Tâm. Did you get number seven?
No.
Okay. Right. Bleak. Okay. Okay, how about number 8 and number 9? Sơn.
Number 9 is unpredictable, but I don't know what number 8.
Mhm. Number 9 is it's not unpredictable. Okay, I'm gonna play the recording just one last time, I think. Yeah, that's up here.
Part 3.
Land.
Yeah, I'd have assumed it would be more than 50%. Now it's less than 0.2%.
What about care workers?
They barely existed in the 19th century, as people's lifespan was so much shorter. But now, of course, this sector will see huge growth.
Yeah, and it's hard enough to meet current demand. The future looks quite bleak for bank clerks. They've been in decline since ATMs were introduced in the 80s.
And technology will certainly make most of the jobs they do now redundant, I think.
I agree. Although the situation may change, it's very hard to predict what will happen.
Okay, so number 9, you need an adjective. Can you get number 9? Yeah, play it again one more time.
Introduced in the 80s.
And technology will certainly make most of the jobs they do now redundant, I think.
Okay, so you got it. Okay. No, it's not changed. Phương, it's redundant. Okay. Number 9, redundant. Correct. A steady. Cái này thì chắc là dễ đoán rồi đúng không? Dòng writing task one. A steady decline in the numbers. All right, so you've listened to the future, a recording about the future of work, right? So which job below do you think will have the bleakest future? I think it's the truck drivers, right? They will disappear in the next, I think, 10 years. Which job will have the bleakest future? What do you think, Vinh?
Mm, I think it's gonna be like surgeons.
Why?
Surgeons is a job that require like skill and a calm mindset, maybe.
It doesn't make sense, right? Because machine can operate surgery maybe in the future, right? Mm. Mintam, which job do you think will become redundant in the foreseeable future?
I think is customer service agent.
Uh-huh. Why?
Uh, because I think robots can replace humans to do this job because they can answer faster.
Okay, all right. Now talking about technology these days, right? We have AIs that can mimic humans' voice, right? Okay, I can just take a recording from you, right, from your voice, and put it into an AI, and later on I can basically generate your voice, right? Okay, so voice cloning is really, I think, advanced technology. Okay, let's move on to speaking. All right. Now, can you tell me the difference between the two pictures here? Hai, what do you think is the main difference?
I think the main difference between two pictures, I think the main difference between two pictures is that the ones in the left is like the mutual work. We need to use it by your strength and do it really hard and difficulty. But on the other hand, on the right hand, we we are using like uh our curiosity and our clever creativities to work out the assignment, the workload. So I think the main difference is just about one is the mutual
What?
manual work,
Manual.
yeah, and the other uh, is work using your creativities and curiosity to uh, find the best solutions.
Okay, you can say brain work, right? Brain work or cognitive work. Okay, cognitive, like relating to the brain. Okay. So on the left, manual labor. On the right, brain work or cognitive work. Right. Okay. So we have some keywords here: manual labor, repetitive, physical strain. Right. On the right, brain power, and basically the staff here are overseeing the system. Right. They are monitoring computers and technological devices. Yeah, it's, it's normal. So move on to task number 5. You have 2 minutes to upgrade these two sentences below. Okay. You should use at least two phrases above. Okay. So we have manual labor, repetitive, physical strain, brain power, and oversee the system. Just very quickly, just copy them, right? Okay. And then replace the phrases. Cái xong mọi người nhớ copy cái câu của mình gửi vào trong hộp chat nhé. Dạ, gửi vào trong nhóm chat chung giúp thầy nhá. Quên mất mọi người ơi, có một cái yêu cầu nữa. Câu số 2 mọi người nhớ dùng let's see, in contrast hoặc là instead of nhé. Okay. Wait. Có bạn viết dài vậy? Chỉ cần viết lại câu thầy nhìn nhầm. Hai câu gộp lại đúng không? Thầy tưởng là một câu mà dài thế. Rồi, brilliant. Ok, từ labor mình để dạng không đếm được, không thêm s. Ok. Alright. Okay. Mm, okay. Mhm, mhm. Okay, perfect. A lot of okay. All right. Okay. Excellent. Có hai cái điểm hai cái lỗi nhỏ này. Các bạn để ý một tí. Thứ nhất từ labor mình không thêm s nhé, nó không đếm được. Thứ hai là cái cụm từ a lot of chúng ta không bao giờ nên dùng trong writing nhé. Cụm từ này chỉ nên dùng trong speaking thôi. Right. Okay. Thì câu số 1 viết lại nào nhỉ? Right. Okay. So in the past, workers had to endure. Alright. Thay vì là a lot of, mọi người có thể dùng a great deal of cũng được. Cụm này hợp hơn về writing. A great deal of manual labor and repetitive tasks, right? Which would excessive physical strain on their bodies. Yeah. Okay. Go B, right, instead of doing out mundane jobs, right? These days, employees, yeah, more time on seeing results and technology devices. Okay. Thứ hai là cụm từ nowadays chúng ta không nên dùng nhé. Cụm đấy xuất hiện quá nhiều trong đề bài và trong writing rồi. Ở trong speaking nhé. Mọi người có thể dùng these days hoặc là at the present time. All right, so you get the idea. Okay, so now let's practice question number 1. How has automation changed the role of the worker? Right. Okay, you can make comparison between the past and the present. Okay, so Phương Nga, in your opinion, how has automation changed the role of the worker?
In my opinion, I think that automation has shifted the role of worker from performing manual and repetitive labor to overseeing machines and also making decisions. As a result, employees are now expected to have stronger technical skill and also better understanding of how system operate. So rather than relying heavily on physical strength. So I think that this is the way that automation changes the role of manual labor.
Do you think that it has made their jobs easier?
Yes, of course. I think that technology can help these jobs easier because it can help people save their health and also time.
Save. Sorry, what did you say? It can
Their
help people.
health and time.
Okay. It can You mean like save their health?
Yeah,
It can.
I mean that people will uh not have to do some extensive jobs, so people can don't feel like fatigue or also tired.
Okay. hmm Right. Okay, so automation has made. So you mean automation has made jobs safer, right? And more time saving. Yeah. Yes. Right. By reducing the risk of injuries, for example. Okay. Phương Nga, can you give me an example of how automation um, can make people's jobs safer for their health?
Uh, for example, there are many intensive works like labor jobs, and you have to uh, spend many like uh, spend many time and also health, and also you have the good health in order to do some jobs.
Mhm.
So if you have some technology, you will be free and also like don't feel very fatigued.
You mean the job has become less physically demanding, right?
Yes,
Okay.
of course. Yeah.
Okay. So they don't have to face what is that? Exhaustion, right? And fatigue. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna put you guys in breakout rooms, okay? And together you will prepare the answer for question number 2, okay? All right, so you can use the phrases here, okay? There is a strong possibility that to predict about the future, okay? Or you could say it's highly debatable, right, to predict whether people will have more leisure time or not. Okay. And you have 3 minutes to make up to write an answer. Mọi người sẽ có khoảng 3 phút nhé. Vào trong breakout room thì một bạn show màn hình lên nhé, và các bạn còn và viết lại idea của cho các bạn trong nhóm nhé. Ok.
như là kiểu mấy cái công việc thế nào ấy nhỉ?
Cái gì được nữa?
Còn cái gì ta?
Seems like you guys are done, right? Not yet? Okay.
Nhóm em trả lời xong rồi.
Xong rồi. Yes. Okay, so Hải Anh, can you give me the answer?
I think there is a strong possibility that people will have more free times in the future due to rapid technological development. And as automations and artificial intelligence can complete tasks much faster and more efficiently than humans, especially repetitive and time-consuming works. This could reduce working hour and allow people to enjoy more leisure time. So we do believe that artificial intelligence and automations will help people to have more free time in the future.
All right, excellent. Okay. So people will have more leisure time or spare time, right? Or recreational time in the future. Okay. Um, the word automation, okay? Auto. Okay, look like auto, right? Automation. Yep. Okay, great. So Vinh, can you give me the answer?
Whether we have more leisure times is highly debatable,
Mhm.
and in the one hand, automations may reduce working hours
Uh-huh.
and it can increase expectations and mm, constant connectivities,
Mhm.
and people's will be spend more time on working and even outside the office.
What do you mean by outside the office?
Mm,
You
like
mean that people still will still work when they are at home?
yeah, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Perhaps, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
they have a busy lifestyle, maybe.
Yeah. I have my coworkers, right? Because I'm working for, I think, three different companies, I would say. So I receive constant messages from coworkers all the time, right? And normally I don't have time to check all of them. Just sometimes just check them very quickly. So it's really difficult. Yeah. Okay. So let's move back to the classroom. Okay, Bing, can you share your screen and give the answer of your group?
In my group, Hà Phương take our notes.
Yes. She's not here. Okay. So let's see. Still wait for other students. Okay. Phương, can you share your screen? Okay. So Phương cannot speak today, right? Okay, so who's gonna give the answer? Okay, Bing, can you?
Yes, but I'm I'm at the coffee shop, so it's a bit noisy.
It's okay.
Well, from my uh, there's strong possibility that people will have more free time in the future because the automation tasks will uh, uh, the automation will take out our time consuming tasks. For example, like advanced technologies like automatic cleaners can clean our house and some advanced machines can do household chores, so this can reduce our physical effort and we can have more free time to uh, enjoy lives. Besides, in factories or a company, the machine can work without break, so they can finish work more effectively and create the huge amount of products.
Okay. All right. That's a very positive outlook. Right. Okay. I don't think so. All right. Chú ý cái từ effort nhé, không phải là effort đâu, effort. Okay. Đọc hơi như effort ấy. Right. Okay. All right. So machines will help us to have more recreational time. So Hoàng Sơn, it's your turn. Can you share your screen?
Yeah, uh, so I believe that there is a strong possibility that people will enjoy significant more leisure time in the future due to the rapid advancement of AI and automation. As automation and robots can take over re- repetitive and boring tasks, also technology allow us to complete tasks faster. As a result, workers will not need to work as many hours, spend more time with their family and doing their hobby.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. Can you give me an example?
Mm, I can now let my AI sorting my information in my class or my work.
Your work? Okay.
Yes.
Do you work now?
Like my school club.
Okay. You can say I work for my parents, right? Okay.
No.
Yeah. Just make up an excuse, right? I am a student, but I work for my parents. Okay. Chú ý mọi người chú ý cái từ automation nhá, nó đọc là auto, right? Không phải auto đâu. Automation. Okay, guys. Just move on to the last question here today. Let me share my screen. Yep. Okay. The last question: are there any jobs that technology can never do? Right. Okay. So you have some suggestions here. We have interpersonal skills. It means basically communication skills, right? Interpersonal skills. Okay. Kỹ năng giữa con người, mình có từ ghép đúng không? Inter này là giao thoa. Và lại personal là con người, interpersonal skills, kỹ năng giao thoa giữa con người, kỹ năng giao tiếp. Emotional intelligence and moral judgment. Okay. Now, moral judgment có thể khá là khó. Mình nói về um, cái ví dụ dễ nhất đấy là doctors, đúng không? Bác sĩ chẳng hạn phải đưa ra những quyết định mang tính chất gọi là có đạo đức. Yeah. Okay. Right. So you have one patient, right, who needs to fix their, I'm not sure, their heart, for example. The other one needs medicine for their brain, and you have limited resources, right? Then you have to decide which one would you save. Or maybe a firefighter, okay, a firefighter. You have a kid on the left, okay, a teenager on the right. So who would you save? That's moral judgment that AI can never make, right? Just only human. Okay. You are a truck driver, okay? So your truck has lost the brake. You cannot stop the truck, okay? So uh, if you go straight ahead, you may hit an old lady. If you turn left, okay, there's a kid standing on the left. So which one do you choose? You understand me? Mọi người hiểu tình huống không? Okay, these are moral judgments that really difficult to make. Okay, so I will give you just 1 minute to prepare for this question. All right. Okay, so thumbs up, right? Hoàng Quỳnh, can you give it a go?
From my perspective, I believe that there are some jobs that technology can never fully do. For example, doctors need strong interpersonal skills to communicate with their patients, emotional intelligence, to understand patient feelings, and moral judgment to make ethical decisions. So, in other words, these human qualities cannot be replaced by AI or robots.
Mhm. Why do you say that doctors need good communication skills?
because I think there are many situations which the patients em bị bí mất rồi.
Okay, why do they need good communication skills? Okay. For example, can a computer empathize with a patient's feelings, right? Okay. Okay. So let me give you an example. For example, if I am a patient, right, I'm complaining that it's really hurt, okay, to carry out the surgery now, right? Okay. It's painful for me. Just give me 2 days, okay? Give me 2 days, all right, to maybe to recover to a better state, right? Okay. So as a doctor, they may empathize with my pain, right, or my suffering, but a machine will likely carry the surgery, no matter what, right? Okay, because it thinks that it's better to just do it now, right? Okay, so as human, we have empathy, right? It means that we can understand the other's feelings. Okay. All right. Okay, so in speaking part 3, prepare for follow-up questions. Okay. Bây giờ giám khảo IELTS họ mới nâng cấp cuộc chơi rồi và họ sẽ hay hỏi xoáy em hơn là tại sao em nói như vậy, okay? Tại sao em lại, cho nên là again chúng ta đừng đừng cố liệt kê nhiều idea nhá, okay? Chọn một cái thôi và mình chọn cái dễ mà mình giải thích được. Nếu mà đưa idea khó mình không giải thích được ấy, là giám khảo sẽ hỏi xoáy tiếp. Okay. Okay, so I want to hear one more answer. Han Quyên, can you answer this question?
Uh, yes, I believe there are certain jobs that technology can never fully replace these jobs that require strong interpersonal skill or emotional intelligence, such as teacher or social worker. While technology can support this professional, but it cannot truly understand human emotions or make decisions in complex situations. So humans will always be essential in this role. I think so.
So can you give me a reason um, why is it difficult to replace teachers with machines? Quyên, yeah, you said that it's difficult to replace teachers, right, by machines, and why?
I think teacher need to be understand their student and their emotion and give personal support. I think it's AI cannot do that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe it's the feeling, right? The feeling that you're interacting with another human being, right? When you're studying, for example, with an AI tutor, right? You could really get bored, right? After just a while, right? Because it doesn't have the the touch of human feelings, right? Okay, it's too perfect. Okay, even some simple mistakes, right, would make it more human-like. Okay. Yeah. Thật ra với câu này mọi người có thể nói về những cái jobs, nói về moral judgment nữa thì nó cũng sẽ dễ hơn. Ví dụ những người làm luật chẳng hạn, đúng không? Lawmakers, right? Okay. So it's really I mean like polarizing for lawmakers to set rules relating to ethical judgment. Right? Okay. Just put in the case of the firefighter that I said before, right? Okay. How can a machine make a decision about choosing which one would it save, right? Okay. If there are two people needing to be saved in a fire, so which one should the firefighter go for, right? Okay. Ok, lớp mình ơi, mình nghỉ giải lao tầm khoảng 10 phút nhé. Thôi chúng ta sẽ chuyển qua phần writing. Okay, guys, so let's continue. If you are in the class, so please turn on your camera. Okay, move on to writing. You've got a lot of ideas for today's topic. All right, this is a real question from the IELTS test. Okay. So, Mintam, can you tell me what is the main argument in the question?
People living in the 21st century would have more free time than ever before.
Yes. Okay. Because of technology. All right. Okay. So, main argument, people will have more free time. Right. Okay. The question, to what extent has this prediction comes true? So basically, it means to what extent do you agree or disagree? Right? The same question type. Okay, so now let's brainstorm some ideas. All right, I will give you 3 minutes. Okay, so just write down your ideas for these two questions, right, in the chat box. How have machines changed our daily chores or office work? Okay, daily chores, you have dishwashers, for example, automatic vacuum cleaners, right? Okay, or maybe in the past, people had to go to grocery stores. Right? Now they can order items online and have products delivered to their home. Office work. In the past, people had to send letters, right? Now they can send emails, for example. Hmm. Okay, so 3 minutes. Just write your ideas in the chat box. Okay, excellent. All right. Các bạn dành thêm tầm khoảng 2 phút nữa brainstorm cho thầy ideas, ít nhất 2 ideas cho câu hỏi số 2 nhé. Câu hỏi số 2 khó hơn đúng không? Okay. Feel stressed because work follows them home. Ok, idea ổn nguyên lại nhưng mà không nên tức là gì nhỉ? Không nên đi sâu quá vào stress nhá. Ok, stress thì nó là một chủ đề khác này. Chủ đề ở đây chỉ nói là họ có nhiều thời gian không? Đấy, có nhiều thời gian cho bản thân hay không? Mặc dù đúng là stress nó là hệ quả của việc đấy, nhưng mà nó lại không nằm trong cái phạm vi câu hỏi này. Nhưng mà có bạn hỏi là em có nên nghiêng hẳn về một phía không hay viết 50-50? Right. Thực ra thì em có thể chọn sit on the fence, tức là 50-50 được nếu nếu em đảm bảo được là cái arguments của em ở cả hai thân bài nó đều nhau. Đó. Ok, tức là ví dụ nhá, một thân bài em nói về benefits, một thân bài em nói về drawbacks, mà em phát triển ý ở cả hai thân bài nó đều nhau. Ok, thì lúc đó em có thể nêu quan điểm của em là 50-50. Yeah. Thì cái việc đấy nó sẽ khó hơn là em chọn hẳn một phế, một 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 vế và em bênh nó. Ok, nó bởi vì để viết được cái balance essay đấy ấy, là em đảm bảo là cái lập luận của mình ở hai thân bài nó phải đều nhau hết. Yeah. Như thế sẽ khó viết hơn. Yeah. Ok, mình sẽ dễ bị kiểu như là nếu mà mình không plan ideas cẩn thận đấy, là mặc dù quan điểm của mình nêu là quan điểm của em là trung lập, partly agree, thế nhưng mà trong thân bài em lại triển khai em bênh hẳn một cái vế ngược lại hơn. Ok, em bênh hẳn một vế nhiều hơn đó. Thế thì đọc nó sẽ không được cân về cái lập luận. Ok. Ok, great. Alright. Idea của các bạn khá là ổn nhé. You can handle tasks allow you to write emails. Ok. Tránh dùng ngôi you trong writing nha mọi người nhé. Ok. Khi mình viết idea thì không sao, nhưng mà tí viết vào thân bài tránh dùng will you nha. Ok. Right. Ok rồi. Thế thì bây giờ mọi người nốt lại cái idea mà mình sẽ đưa vào thân bài 1 và thân bài 2 nhé. Ok. Chốt lại nhỉ. Với quan điểm của mình là agree hay là disagree hay là partially agree. Ok. Gì Phương Nga sẽ chọn quan điểm nào?
Em thưa thầy là em sẽ chọn cái agree.
Completely agree. Ok.
Vâng.
Ok. Ok. Completely agree. Right. Let's see. Hmm. Nếu mà chọn completely agree thì em sẽ không có nhắc đến cái đoạn constant connection này nữa, đúng không? Dạ. Ok. Tức là mình phải tránh hoàn toàn cái việc nói về mọi người vẫn có nhắn tin cho nhau, thông tin cho nhau ngoài thời gian làm việc. Ok, em chỉ có hoàn toàn bênh thôi. Như vậy thân bài một có thể em sẽ tập trung vào những cái tiện nghi hiện đại này, như là automatic vacuum cleaner này, đấy, dishwashers, online delivery hoặc là online banking nữa. Right. Rồi. Ok, thân bài 2 em nói về office works. Right. Ok. Và không có động gì đến cái đoạn mà mọi người phải làm việc quá thời gian. Right. Nếu các bạn chọn partially agree đó, thì các bạn có thể nêu cả hai cái này. Right. Ok. Nếu các bạn chọn disagree, chúng ta cũng vẫn có thể nêu cả hai cái. Thân bài một nói về ở những cái tiện nghi hiện đại này làm cho mọi người có thêm thời gian, tiết kiệm được thời gian. Tuy nhiên, thân bài 2 chúng ta lại nêu cái mặt ngược lại, đấy là constant connection, làm mọi người xóa đi cái ranh giới giữa công việc và cuộc sống riêng tư, đúng không? Nhiều người về nhà rồi vẫn có nhắn tin với đồng nghiệp chẳng hạn, vẫn giải quyết công việc ở nhà, remote work từ xa, cho nên là trên thực tế thì họ lại làm việc quá thời gian và có ít thời gian rảnh hơn. Ok. Right. Ok, các bạn copy nhanh cái idea vào hai thân bài một và 2 nhé. Sau đấy là chúng ta ờ, viết thân bài bên dưới luôn. Ok, chọn một thân bài đấy nhá. Right. Và requirement của mọi người đấy là chúng ta cố gắng sử dụng ít nhất 3 cụm từ ở đây. Technological advancements, right. Automatic system, mundane task, constant connectivity, ultimately với lại foreseeable future. Đúng không? Không dùng a lot of trong writing rồi mà. Yes, don't do it. Tránh dùng cụm từ a lot of nha. Ở đây nếu mà nói về washing machines, robotic vacuum cleaners, automatic, automatic vacuum cleaners. Có thể em có thể nói cụ thể hơn là nó giúp mọi người tiết kiệm được khoảng vài vài ba giờ một ngày. Right. Ok. Đừng nói chung chung là a lot of time như thế. Ok. All right. Ok. Thực ra cái từ effort ở đây ấy, Phương ạ, nó chưa phù hợp trong cái ngữ cảnh này lắm, bởi vì effort nó có thể là mental effort nữa, là những cái nỗ lực về về mặt gọi là tinh thần, đúng không? Đó. Thế ở đây em đang giải thích là những cái công việc này nó giải phóng thời gian, làm những cái gọi là công việc nó lặp đi lặp lại và nhàm chán thôi. Thì ở đây mình nên ờ, dùng là avoid mundane task. Ừ. Mundane hoặc là repetitive task. Ok. Right. Mời chờ đây một chút nhé. Được cả lớp ơi, thế thì thầy nhắc mọi người là buổi sau, thứ hai nhé, thứ hai là mình sẽ làm bài thẩm test số một, làm full 3 kỹ năng. Writing thì chúng ta chỉ có writing task 2 thôi. Ok, bây giờ trước khi nghỉ thì mọi người bấm vào cái đường link ở trên cái lesson 16 thầy đã gửi nhá. Right. Ok, mọi người join vào trong cái phần lớp học này giúp thầy nhé. Ok, mình sẽ có update một chút về writing các bạn ạ. Um, nào, cho em tí. Chúng ta sẽ vẫn làm writing, các bài homework ở trên Google Classroom, thế nhưng mình sẽ có update một chút ở cái chỗ này. Vậy, từ từ. À, này. Đó là mình sẽ có thêm một cái nền tảng nữa để mình làm writing. Nền tảng này thì nó sẽ có thêm một cái ưu điểm nữa, đấy là sau khi các bạn viết bài thì các bạn sẽ nhận được ngay lập tức cái feedback. Ok. Đương nhiên là cái đấy chưa phải là điểm cuối cùng, thầy sẽ phải duyệt cái feedback đấy nữa. Thầy sẽ vào, thầy phải xem cái feedback đấy và thầy duyệt xem nó có ok không. Thế nhưng cái feedback ngay lập tức ấy là các bạn, ít nhất là các bạn sau khi mà mình viết xong mình nhận được ngay lập tức. Đấy. Mình biết được áng chừng cái mức điểm của mình nó đang ở mức nào. Có thể nó sẽ chênh nhau khoảng 0,5 band. Cái có thể có một vài chỗ mà touch response mày nó chấm nó sẽ không được hoàn toàn là chính xác. Thế nhưng mà mình có được một cái ước lượng à, ngay lúc đầu luôn. Cái hay là những cái lỗi ngữ pháp nó sẽ chỉ ra được luôn cho các em. Ok. Cái thứ hai nữa đấy là trên cái nền tảng này rất là hay, có cả speaking nữa. Đó. thầy gửi được, thầy assign được cả bài tập speaking nữa. Thì cái điểm số ngay lập tức đấy ấy, thì các bạn sẽ biết là performance của mình nó đang ở khoảng mức nào. Right. Mình có thể cải thiện được cái gì. Và có một cái hay đấy nữa là sẽ có thể chúng ta có thể đặt cái mức điểm là fail hay là pass. Ok. Ví dụ yêu cầu tối thiểu với mọi người là writing phải đạt từ 6 chấm. Ok. Nếu mà không đạt được 6 chấm thì các bạn sẽ phải viết lại cái bài đấy. Ok. Viết lại xong submit lại theo cái hướng dẫn mà gợi ý sửa. Ok. Đó. Đương nhiên task response thì nó sẽ không chính xác, thế nhưng mà những cái tiêu chí khác ấy, như là vocab hay grammar, nếu chúng ta mắc lỗi nhiều nó sẽ chỉ ra được để chúng ta cải thiện ngay lập tức. Ok. Thì chúng ta có thể submit nhiều lần. Right. Ví dụ các bạn bấm vào đây nhé, cái bài này thầy đã gửi cái homework buổi ngày hôm nay luôn lên cho mọi người rồi. Right. Ok, các bạn bấm vào cái quiz và bấm vào start quiz nhé. Bấm vào start practice. Ok, bài này bài đầu tiên nhé, chưa quen giao diện nha, thầy sẽ để thời gian nó hơi gọi là loose hơn cho mọi người một tí. Đó. Ok, tầm khoảng 60 phút. Thì chúng ta bấm vào practice. Ok. Đó. Thì nó sẽ ra một cái giao diện như là thi thật như này. Đó. Mình bấm OK thôi là bắt đầu tính giờ. Ok, chạy ngược giờ ở đây. Đó. Bên trái sẽ là đề bài, bên phải là bài viết của mình. Ok, sau khi viết xong các bạn bấm submit. Alright. Nếu mà điểm số mình không pass thì mình có thể viết lại. Đó. Viết lại dựa trên cái feedback ngay lúc đầu đấy. Đến bây giờ mình pass thì thôi. Alright. Bài này thầy đang để là 6.5. Ok. Và đương nhiên là có thời gian đấy nhá. Ok, để chúng ta có cái cảm giác thi thật luôn. Ok. Với speaking cũng vậy. Một lát nữa thầy sẽ update thêm cái phần một bài speaking nữa. Ok, các bạn có thể record ở trên này. Đấy. Thì nó sẽ chấm đối với speaking thì nó sẽ chấm 3 tiêu chí cho mọi người: vocab này, grammar với fluency. Ok, fluency nó sẽ đếm số từ trong 1 phút. Đấy. Mà nó áng độ trôi chảy của mình. Ok. Có một tiêu chí nó không chấm mà thầy sẽ phải vào thầy chấm trực tiếp, đấy là phát âm, pronunciation. Ok. Đó. Đấy, thế thì cái này nó sẽ kết hợp cả máy và cả thầy chấm nữa, cả hai. Ok. Mọi người vào trong nhỉ, vào trong trang này chưa? Thế là vấn đề chưa update lên nhỉ. Ok, alright. Ok, thế thì homework buổi ngày hôm nay mọi người sẽ làm trên trang này cho thầy nhé. Ok, nếu mà gặp khó khăn gì thì các bạn cứ nhắn cho thầy qua Messenger. Alright. Ok, còn một số bạn vẫn chưa gửi cho thầy cái kết quả các bạn làm thử reading với lại listening. Ok, thì từ giờ đến cuối tuần mọi người nhớ dành thời gian đấy nhá. Làm test thử để mình áng cái mức điểm cho hai kỹ năng đấy đã. Đấy. Thầy có một cái pattern chung, đấy là lớp mình đang mạnh về listening, nhỉnh hơn so với reading một tí. Ok, thường là các bạn sẽ có điểm listening cao hơn 0,5 so với lại reading. Đa số mọi người rơi vào range tầm khoảng 7, 75 hoặc là 65 trong ba cái điểm đấy. Nhé. Ok, thì làm sao mục tiêu đạt đến cuối khóa học là chúng ta đạt được đều đặn khoảng 7.5 ở mỗi kỹ năng reading với lại listening. Ok. Đó, lúc đó thì mình có thể tự tin đi thi và không không có mất 5 triệu. Right. No. Ok. Một bài test thì nó sẽ không đánh giá đúng được hoàn toàn level của các em đâu. Phải 3 bài test. Thì mình chia điểm trung bình ra thì nó mới chính xác được. Đấy. Mà vẫn có cái rủi ro đấy là đi thi mình gặp đề bài khó. Đó, thì điểm của mình bị tụt một tí khoảng 0,5 điểm. Lý do tại sao mà thầy vẫn bảo là các bạn nên làm đều đặn khoảng 7,5 nghe và đọc đi. Thì lúc đó đi thi mình trừ hao đi thì mình mới đỡ sợ. Đó. Chứ còn nếu mà điểm mình đang loanh quanh tầm khoảng 7 chẳng hạn. Ok. Thì mình đi thi thì nó vẫn có cái xác suất là mình xui mình gặp đề khó chẳng hạn. Đó. Ok. Cái gì nhỉ? Đề bài Writing Task 2 Homework khá là à, khá là mới mẻ. Alright. Ok. Đây cũng là một cái đề thi thật. Các bạn về có thể là check trước qua cái idea nhé, xong rồi làm. Nhá. Ok. Càng ngày càng nhiều người chuyển qua ăn gọi là nhỉ, chế độ ăn chay. Tại sao lại vậy và nó là tích cực hay tiêu cực? Ok. Ok nhỉ, mọi người có câu hỏi gì bài ngày hôm nay nữa không nhỉ? Any question? Ok, thế thì tạm thời mình nghỉ ở đây nhé. Alright. Goodbye cả lớp.
Em chào thầy.
Em chào
Yeah.
thầy.
Goodbye mọi người.